This avalanche safety report is brought to you by MTN TV. Learn more at mtn-tv.com.
Hi, this is Brian Lazar with the Colorado Avalanche Information Center here with your weekly avalanche outlook. And I'll start by kind of showing our current status of danger, which is a lot of areas of low danger, especially in the southern mountains and on the Grand Mesa, which means generally safe avalanche conditions. And then for the rest of the state, we're looking at moderate danger, and that's likely to stick with us the rest of the week and through the weekend and into early next week. And we'll show you why. Essentially, we got some snow that came middle of this week, which is on Tuesday and Wednesday, followed by some pretty strong northwesterly winds. And as you can see in this photo, we saw widespread drifting of that new snow, and that led to a new wind slab avalanche problem. And so most of the avalanches that were breaking looked like this. They were on wind-loaded slopes, in this case indicated by those small cornice features on the top, mostly small in size, but certainly growing large enough in some places to be a threat to people. And what all that drifted snow did on many slopes, including north and east facing slopes at higher elevation, was bury this really weak snow that was on the surface before this storm. And this is leading to our next generation of essentially persistent slab avalanches. Again, breaking in the recently drifted storm snow. So they're only about a foot, maybe 2 feet at most in places that got more than about 8 inches of snow, which mainly are confined to the Elk Mountains, portions of the Sawatch, and the Park Range. And this is something we want to keep an eye on because this is going to be our next generation of persistent slabs. And of course, those are the kinds of avalanches that you can trigger from a distance and trigger from below. So this kind of avalanche breaking in these odd ways are just early indications of what's to come when we continue to add more snow. And of note is we had a lot of avalanches that ran during the Thanksgiving cycle that exposed a lot of old bed surfaces, like in here. You can see evidence of an old avalanche, a much bigger one that ran during that Thanksgiving storm. And for a number of days and almost a week and a half afterwards, during that really dry weather, we were mentioning that previously avalanche slopes were offering safer travel options, and that's no longer the case in these places that picked up more snow. You can see the old bed surface here was loaded from the midweek storm and avalanche yet again. So those bed surfaces are no longer kind of safe go-to terrain options, particularly in those places that picked up more than about 8 inches of snow during the middle of the week. Fortunately, our new persistent slab problem, because it's so close to the surface, is providing clear signs of unstable snow, notably audible rumbling collapses and shooting cracks like this. So if you start to see those signs of obvious instability, it's time to move to lower angle slopes or move on to southerly aspects which don't harbor this problem as much. And in the really cold, really steep areas, we are starting to see enough of the surface snow weaken to produce long-running sloughs in the weak snow at the surface. And so you want to be aware of, essentially just loose snow pushing you around, particularly if you're near terrain traps, like over creek beds, gullies, and things that might pile up snow really quickly and really deeply. And so essentially what we're going to do then as we move into the weekend, we get a little bit of a storm Friday and Saturday, and then another pulse comes through on Sunday and Monday. And this is not a lot of snow, as you can see here. We get a little bit more next week, but these little dribs and drabs of snow can add up over time, and we can expect all the snow that comes in to continue to drift. So this will fuel new wind slab problems and exacerbate the developing persistent slab problem. And so these are going to be our two avalanche problems as we move through the weekend and into next week. And that just incremental little bits of dribs and drabs of snow is going to keep it hard for us to get out of moderate danger, for the next week or so. So conditions do vary a lot depending on where you're going in the state because of recent storms, recent wind drifting, and how these new little tiny storms are going to impact us going forward. So make sure to get your local avalanche forecast at Colorado.gov/avalanche, and we will see you here next week.